welcome to week 24 of the Perry Athletic Department podcast, Walk the Plank. We'll take a deep dive into what was the week of Perry Athletics, and we've got several guests on board today, so we're going to get right to it here. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Gene Winters. Thanks for being with us, Gene.
Yeah, not just a busy week for the athletes, but a busy week here for week 24.
Yeah, we've got a packed schedule today, so we've got our athletes of the week. We're going to go through and talk to Jaden and Traxton here in a couple of minutes. We've got Coach Infalvi coming on to talk about our girls basketball game from last night and preview the district championship final, which we will play in on Saturday. We've got Ben Hersig from the News Herald joining us, and even going to sneak in our state swim qualifiers, Brody and Noel. So we got a full agenda today, so we'll get right to it. Again, thanks for joining us. Jaden Newsom is our guest here. She is our female athlete of the week. Jaden, whether you knew it or not, you get a free meal deal and Blizzard from Dairy Queen, so enjoy that. Thank you to DQ, as always, for sponsoring our athletes of the week. So let's just get right down to business here, Jaden. You're here. Coach Infalvi nominated you. We had a big win last night over who do we
Keystone.
play? Keystone, LaGrange. I always have LaGrange on my mind. Keystone, they're from the west side of Cleveland, but nonetheless, they had 21 wins coming into our matchup last night in the district semis. 21-2 versus 16-7 Perry Lady Pirates, and we come out and put in a complete game together. Let's just talk about, I guess, what the game plan was going into that last night and what your mindset was as a team as we headed into that district semi.
I would say that one of our top goals was to take away their offense and play very good defense, and always kick out the ball on offense and try and score as much as we could and push the ball up the court.
And they had some good three-point shooters, am I correct? I know I was sitting there in the second half, even late in the game, we were up a good bit at that point. But even then, Coach Austin, Coach Infalvi, sort of pleading, close out, hand up. We always wanted to make sure that we had a hand in the face of that shooter that they have several of. And obviously, they have 21 wins. They had some accomplished sharpshooters out there, and I think we did a fantastic job. Final score was 50-38, so to hold a team like that with 21 wins to 38 points, hats off to our defense.
The coaches have been really honest about being on the shooters and knowing where they're at on the court, especially if we're in zone, and just seeing where they drive and to take away like their left hand or their right hand.
Yep.
So what was the message after the first quarter? You guys were down by 2, but then outscored Keystone 19-3 just in the second quarter alone. So what switched from the first quarter into that second quarter to give you guys the momentum going into half?
The coaches just told us to take away whatever hand they were more dominant with. So on the drives, we would take away their left hand mostly to make them go right and just know where the shooters were, and always push the ball up the court if we can.
And I think, so we're coming off a CVC championship, so we're co-champs with Richmond Heights. They got us at home. We got them on their floor. That was, I thought, up until maybe last night, our most complete game of the year over at Richmond Heights, and we pulled away there. Another big run in that game to sort of take command. So we finish up the year as CVC champs. Now we're into this postseason. We take care of Coventry the other day and move on, past Keystone last night. Up ahead of us is West Branch, a team that we've, maybe not in your time as a player, but we've run into these guys before in postseason matchups over the years. What do you know about West Branch? And obviously we're looking forward to a fun night on Saturday.
We're just going to try our best to win and play as a team and just to accomplish our keys.
Okay.
And for you, obviously the non-conference schedule early on helped prepare you guys to get where you are right now. 5-5 to start the year. The calendar changed to 2025. You guys went on a 9-game winning streak. What changed from getting familiar in the first 10 to really coming on strong here late?
I think just getting to play together more and learning each other better and just playing together on offense and defense.
And for you, there's 4 seniors, obviously you being a junior, but been with this program for all 3 years, splitting a little time as a freshman between JV and varsity. What have these 4 seniors meant to you and this Perry program?
They have meant a lot. They have helped all the younger kids accomplish their goals and push them to be do their best, and just help their program out a lot.
And you even got, speaking of seniors, it was her senior year. You got to play with your sister a little bit
Yeah.
during that time. What was it like to sort of share the court with your sister during that time?
It was a very special moment.
Yeah.
She really pushed me. I really pushed her during practices, and we just tried to make the best out of each other.
And as I say, as you go back thinking about your freshman year to where you are now, what has been your biggest improvement in your game from the first time you got varsity minutes to now being a 2-year starter?
I think it's seeing the floor and seeing if I could push the ball up the court to other teammates and just running offense better.
All right, Jaden. Well, we certainly appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on and joining us. We'll keep everybody updated as we're heading into Saturday here for our big district championship matchup with West Branch. We're waiting to hear yet from Akron North where the game will be played. It's a 7 p.m. tip. If it's going to be streamed or not, we'll certainly get out that information to our Perry community here, and we will go from there. So best of luck. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on a great year. Best of luck on Saturday and beyond.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
You're going to let her slide without?
Oh, yeah, good call. Mr. Winters, she's probably not going to like this,
Yeah.
but we're going to ask you some questions here. Just a little get to know you better. Jaden Newsome, your favorite food, Jaden?
Probably mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Do you anywhere in particular you're getting your mac and cheese, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, or you like it from a particular restaurant, or is it Mom's, or?
My mom usually makes the Bob Evans kind.
Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
just typical.
Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. All right. Favorite movie or television show or series?
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl. All right. Any hobbies? You're pretty active. Your volleyball, your basketball. You're doing that quite a bit. Any hobbies outside of athletics?
I don't even know.
Not really.
No.
You're always doing something pretty active.
Yeah.
How about favorite memory? Any athletically here, Perry, but anywhere from Perry rec days to travel to middle school to high school. What do you think?
I would say going to Florida with the basketball team freshman year.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
You have to do that again,
Yeah.
Coach and follow me. Favorite place to visit in the world if you had no money? Go anywhere you want. Where is Jaden heading?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. All right, good answer. That's a common
That's-
answer.
yes.
Yeah, pretty good theme. All right, Jaden, thanks again. We'll let you
Thank
go
you.
now. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, Jaden Newsome, girls basketball athlete of the week here for our athletic department. Best of luck to her and the Lady Pirates here on Saturday as we travel down to Akron North High School. We were talking last night as a coaching staff after the game. None of us, Coach Infalvi, even his dad, Coach Austin, Coach Allen, or myself, never been to Akron North High School. So it'll be a new venue for us we can check off.
And that's what you like to see, another district final coming up, a different location, not a different opponent, as you were just talking with Jaden, someone
Yeah.
that, Perry has had familiar, matchups with, so it should be a good one Saturday night at 7.
Yeah, definitely. And West Branch, again, we've got a little bit of history there
Yep.
throughout our years, a very defensive-oriented team. And we'll talk to Coach Infalvi more about that as we have him on here in a few minutes. But looking for a good battle here on Saturday, probably a low-scoring game. Yeah, it'll be fun to talk about. Next up, we'll bring up Traxton Richards. He is our male athlete of the week. He is a freshman dual sport athlete for us in the winter time. He is a member of our boys basketball team. Come up, Trax. Thanks. There's your certificate. Enjoy that.
Thank
Little
you.
DQ action there for you. Meal deal and a blizzard. But he's also a diver for our swim team. So he is a busy individual here in the winter. Actually, all 3 seasons, he's a 4 or 5 sport athlete for us. But we'll concentrate on the winter here. Again, member of our basketball team. And then he qualified for the state dive meet as a freshman. Pretty darn impressive feat to happen. Let's just talk about that experience. How did you get in? We'll sort of backtrack, and then we'll sort of hit on the state stuff. But how did you get into diving from a competitive standpoint? And how long have you been doing it?
Well, as a young kid, I did gymnastics.
Okay.
And I was pretty well known for doing that.
Yeah.
And Coach Renau actually asked me to do diving
Okay.
my 8th grade year, and I tried it out this year as a freshman
Okay.
during the late fall, beginning of winter.
Okay.
And yeah, this is my first year doing it. Stuck with it.
Wow. So that's pretty even makes it even more impressive. You're able to qualify for the state meet. So how long are you still doing gymnastics? Are you involved in that, or when did you start the gymnastics side of it? Like really little.
Yeah, gymnastics I started as a really young child, and I went through it till like 5th grade.
Okay.
And then around that COVID time, I stopped doing
Okay.
it.
Okay. But that obviously we have had in the past. Now that you say the gymnastics piece, we've had gymnasts and divers. Some of those moves are very similar. Some of those moves off of the board are getting some air and being athletic in that space. They sort of go well together. So I'm sure that's helped you out. And then so you move on where there's no real sectionals due to numbers. We go to Cleveland State, and you're there. You're a freshman. Are you nervous? It's probably a dumb question. Like, yeah, all right. But how did you mitigate that whole situation and it ended up qualifying for that state meet? Take us through it a little bit.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous going there, seeing the dives by the other competition by the seniors, juniors doing
Yeah.
the crazy dives that I can't do right now.
Yeah.
And my coach just calmed me down, saying that I have a good shot to go to states if I just get my dives done. And yeah, calmed me down. And I just did the job.
Right.
And you go in with a game plan, but as you're starting to see this, do you kind of think, do I need to add a little mix to my repertoire in this, or do you just kind of go in, do your dives, and let it play out?
Yeah, she said I had enough difficulty for my dives to get it done as long as I did them good. So we just kept the plan the same and did the dives. It was good.
As you go through it, how many dives do you get per meet? Because I'm guessing it's you add up the scores to average it out to get your best. So how many dives do you have in a? Let's go back to CSU, so that way to advance.
Yeah, so you have to do 11 dives, and each one gets a score, and they all get added up together.
So of the 11, is it the same one over and over? I'm guessing you're mixing in a couple different dives to try to get higher scores.
Yeah, so out of the 11 dives, there's like 4 different dives you do, like a front dive, back dive, reverse dive, and inward. So you just mix, you do like 2 of each and some twist, and that's how you get your 11.
And what's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite dive out of all of them, or that you're more comfortable with than the others?
Yeah, my coach calls it she calls it the Mick twist.
Okay.
It's technically a back, it's a back 1.5 with a half twist.
Okay. So you standing? So it's a bat. Are you standing at the edge of the board, like facing the board, and then you're diving into the pool that way? Is that what the back means?
Yeah, so you're on the board, the edge of the board, facing like the wall, not
Facing
the water.
wall, right?
And then the special about the McTwist is you do the twist first, and then you do the 1.5.
Okay.
So normally you just do like a twist with a back half, but I jump up, twist, and then do a 1.5.
Okay. Well, and it's got to get you excited about the future, right? I mean, obviously, only a freshman, you have the opportunity to do something that not many people have the opportunity to do, and be a 4-time state qualifier in any sport. But will this sort of give you a little bit of energy as you move into the off season? So we finished 24th overall in the state, which is again awesome accomplishment as a freshman. Where do you go from here? Are you going to continue to work on this in the off season? What are the next steps for you as far as developing?
Yeah, I'll definitely try to get some work in the off season. She said she might practice like once a week during the spring.
Okay.
And then yeah, just keep grinding and getting better
Right.
when it comes next year.
Okay.
Well, and obviously splitting time with basketball. So how do you manage the winter? Going to basketball practice, going to swim. How does a typical day go for you with being a 2-sport athlete in the winter?
A typical day is basketball is after school, and then I go home for about 40 minutes, eat, and then I go back and dive is from 6 to 7.
And as you're waiting to dive, take us through the mindset that you go through. Are you sitting out, listening to headphones? Are you going through your routine? How take us through that before you go and make your first dive of the night?
So before my first dive, I think of what I need to do and think of the little like reminders that to make the dive the best as possible. And I try not to think too much about it actually, because that could mess you up overthinking.
Yeah, just go do it. You know what your body can do. And then let's talk basketball a little bit. So you're a member, you're a freshman obviously, but you're a member of the varsity team. You and Carter Crowfoot as freshmen are on that bench, and you're getting some time, in some of these big games from a basketball standpoint as well. We have a big game coming up on Friday night against Woodridge. Pirates are the 10 seed. Woodridge is the 12 seed. So a good team coming in here. What are we looking for on the basketball floor here Friday as we host Woodridge?
We're looking to stop all their drives to the middle, force them to the outsides, not let them in the middle, because that's where they're dangerous at. And they like to set a lot of screens. We're going to be on those and not let them get downhill or slip the screens at all.
And if you've been to any of our boys' games this year, you've seen Traxton as sort of our defensive specialist, I would think, right? That's probably accurate to say that, where he's coming in, he's got a job to do, he's taking away one of their better scorers and playing some real good, hard-nosed defense, moving his feet, athleticism, all of that plays into being a defensive stopper, and he serves that role well. So, we're looking forward to Friday night. We'll be streaming that game, so you can check that game out. If you can't make it out, 7 p.m. tip against Woodridge.
No, well, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, and it's going to be another nice accomplishment. So as you left yesterday, do you just get right back to basketball today? Like, you get a little time off, or you're just right back into practice? I know you dove yesterday morning.
Yeah, just right back to practice. Actually, after my dive competition, came right back and did basketball. So
from one to the other. Well, we are going to have a clap out this afternoon right around 2:25. We're taping this. It's about 1:25 right now here on Wednesday. We're going to have a clap out, a little post after your diving, but we're going to have you walk with our state qualifying swimmers, who we're going to talk to Brody and Noel here shortly. But we wish you nothing but the best. You had a great, obviously, start to your career from a diving standpoint and basketball, getting some time as a freshman. So a well-earned award here. We'll get you some questions and get you out back to Coach Chris in your strength and fitness class, but we appreciate the time you spent with us today. Traxton, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food is steak cooked by my grandma.
By your grandma. Grandma's steak. Awesome. How about your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math, another math. Movie or TV show, series that's your favorite right now?
Let's have a favorite, but like some of the Avengers movies.
Okay.
Like
I just
those.
saw the other one. The new one on Monday was good. Any hobbies? Again, we know you're like a multi-sport athlete here for us. Anything outside of athletics that you like to do?
Besides sports, I like to play some video games.
Okay, awesome. Favorite memory, and you're only a freshman, so it's, but anywhere all the way up from youth to middle school to high school, what you've experienced so far that you're going to take away as your favorite to this point?
Sports-wise?
Yeah.
So far, one of my favorite memories is was 8th grade in pole vault competition at Spire. I got to jump with my brother Braden at the same bar, and he was really good. And I was good for an 8th grader, but not as good as him. We got to jump at the same bar.
He is very good. So if you can hang in that space, that's pretty darn impressive. And I know Brady just set the Air Force freshman record at the Air Force Academy for track for their jump. So pretty cool accomplishment for him. And we know you're going to be jumping here in the spring as a freshman. So we'll get to see you more here as we go in the spring and see what we can accomplish in the postseason in track as well. All right, Traxton. Oh, visit any place in the world. Where are you going? No cost is nothing. Where you want to go somewhere? Where are you heading?
I'd say I'd go back to Australia. I went there once as 8 with my family.
Okay.
It was pretty cool.
Like to head back and see it again. Okay, awesome. Traxton, thanks for joining us. Best of luck. Congratulations on a great start to your dive career and your basketball career. Look forward to great things in the spring as well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Traxton Richards, our male athlete of the week here at Perry High School.
Just to go back for a second, just oh, I think I'm going to dive this year, and then
Yeah.
you're a state qualifier. I mean, that's just an
Yeah.
amazing feat. But as we know, as we heard him talk about, just a fantastic athlete here at Perry, and
Yeah.
you know, if anybody can do it, I think
Yeah,
he would be the perfect one to try it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that gymnastics background was a huge
Yes.
start into making that comfortability. It's not easy to stand up on that board, you know, whatever, 8 or 10 feet above the water, and then twist and do all kinds of crazy stuff and then land in the water a certain way. You know, but he's also a big time pole vaulter.
Yep.
And so being up in the air, he's sort of used to that. So, yeah, he's only a freshman. So great things to come for Traxton. Thanks for his time today. And we'll bring up our state qualifying swimmers here. I know they've got some classes. We're going to have to get another chair. Well, we'll bring up Brody. We'll
Okay.
do one at a time here. Brody Hicks will be joining us. Noel Griffith will be joining us here from our swim team. Thanks for joining us, Brody. Congratulations on
you.
being a state qualifier. We just wanted to have, we sort of did that in the fall.
Yep.
Audrey Austin was a qualifier for us. So we just wanted to have you guys on quickly. And number one, wish you nothing but the best of luck here as you compete.
Thank you.
Thursday will be our prelims at 5 p.m. Down at the Canton Auditorium there, right next to the Hall of Fame Stadium. And then we got to qualify into Friday. So we'll backtrack a little bit to last week at districts. And I'll just turn it over to you. Tell us what you were excited about, and you know how that meet went for you in your eyes.
Yeah, it was definitely a really solid meet for me and the team. We started out with our 200 medley relay.
Yep.
Solid time. I think we got second in our heat in that, which was really good. And then going to my 50 free, had some really good competition going into it. Ended up winning my first district or sectional race. Get my first OHSA gold medal,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool.
That's
and
awesome.
PRing in that
Yeah.
with, you know, a minimal taper. Really, this week is my big taper week.
Okay.
And then going to my 100 fly, a solid time. I was 0.3 of a second off my PR, so we're looking to drop from that this week by quite a bit. So I qualified for fourth in the 50 free, and then sixth in the 100 fly. In that fly, I had a really stacked district. I got fourth in
Yeah,
district, and
that's
then
crazy.
seeded sixth in the state.
Okay.
But I look forward, and I hope to move up
Yeah.
in that ranking for sure. And then definitely the best event was our 400 free relay at the end, where we dropped, 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Setting the school record. We ended up getting the 25th slot, I believe, for
Yeah,
state. One
did.
place off, 0.4 of a second. But, you know, you could really see the heart in the boys going for the record
Yeah.
and state. It was really a Cinderella story, and it was a great way to end this season with the team.
It was awesome, and I know I was talking to your dad there, and it's one of those things like we just got to get. I think it was below 327. You guys broke it by a whole nother second. So that team of Jonathan Casala, McCoy Richards, Brody, and Carson Emy, 325.94, broke the school record. It's been there for quite a while. And like you said, just finished. They take the top 24 on to state. We finished 25th. So those guys were literally one place away, probably not even a half second away from qualifying for the state meet themselves, which, as Brody just said, they took off massive amounts of time to even get into that realm. So that's pretty sweet. And then, yes, district champ in the 50. Was that on your radar at the beginning of the year in terms of, you know, the 100 fly is sort of what I've always had in my mind as Brody's race, but now is it the 50? They're both state qualifying, and you're ranked in the top 6 in the state in both. But yeah, was that a shock to you, or were you expecting, hey, you know, I know my time's in that realm where I can, you know, be a district champ?
Yeah, really, I can do pretty much any event besides breaststroke. That one's not quite as good,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty versatile in my swimming, and with the extra pounds of muscle Krister's been able to put on me,
Yeah.
that's really benefited my 50 free. I feel like maybe hurting my distance events a little bit, but
Yeah.
those are boring anyways. Everybody wants to see a sprint race, and it's more fun. And
Yeah.
you know, when you brought me on week 1
Yep.
of Winter Sports Athlete
Yeah.
of the Week, I reset the school record in the 50 free with going a 21.33, and it was a good time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this could be a good event for me. And then in relays, I continue to split good 50 frees. So
Yeah.
I decided to go with it. And
Okay.
definitely district champ was on the radar.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and you broke your own school record again and again and again. It ended up right now, I believe I get this time right, 21.22. Were you
Yes,
lower than
yeah,
20
21.22.
22
Yeah.
is what the district championship time was, and as you said, you're ranked in that top 8. So I know you're excited about Thursday night and Friday, and that 100 fly, is stacked in Northeast Ohio. Those 2 Beechwood kids.
Yep.
That are you guys are always like right within 100th of a second of each other, and it was a tight race, and but so you'll see them again and have another opportunity here on Friday night. So yeah, Gene, anything else?
Is there a number in mind that, I mean, obviously you know the competitors, you know the competition. Is there a number you have in mind that you have to get to?
As in a time or?
Yes.
So really my goals for that 50 free is to get around a 20.5, which is
Oh.
a big drop, but
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely capable. And
Okay.
that right now would put me into second. First is looking tough. There's a Ohio State commit, Mason Francis, who
Yeah.
probably not going to catch him unless something goes catastrophically
Crazy.
wrong for him. But yeah, 20.5, that would be really solid to get in the second place. And then I want to get under 49 in the 100 fly. I'm at 50.4 right now, 50.1 last year. And that would put me around third. So I'd be
Okay.
very happy with those times.
And leading into the race coming up, the states, how do you practice this week? Are you going all out? Are you trying to get not a rest day, but maybe a lighter day in?
Yeah, so swimming, there's a taper for all these big meets, and there's certain ways tapering is really an art. It depends on the person. For like a girl that's swimming a 500, they don't need necessarily a lot of taper, but
Yeah.
for a male swimming a 50 free, it is a lot more. So I've really been resting up, just working a lot of details in my races, not necessarily getting sore and stuff, just letting my muscles heal and getting ready for the race.
Yeah, so not yardage, not huge amounts of yards, but like you said, that technical side of it, those flips and the different things that you're going to need to take that time off. And as Brody said, he was our athlete of the week 1 of the winter. And again, we just wanted to have you back on and sort of celebrate the year that was. And it's an exciting time, and we're rooting for you. We'll be down there this weekend in Canton, and wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, we'll update everybody as it happens here on Thursday and Friday. Thanks to Brody Hicks for taking a few minutes for us. We're going to bring up Noel Griffith, our other state qualifier. As I mentioned, we're going to have a little clap out for these guys at 2:30 today on Wednesday afternoon, and we're just excited to get them down there to the state meet. Congratulations, Noel.
Thank you.
Another repeat. Brody was our athlete of the week. Noel's been our athlete of the week as well. And just take us through your district meet a little bit. Obviously, you're qualified in the 50 free, and that was your goal when you came on here. Earlier this year, you said, I want to qualify for state, and you did it. Mission accomplished. How did it all go down?
Well, starting off, I was also in the medley relay.
Yeah.
So we dropped a lot of time,
Yeah.
actually. It was mostly Allie, though. She
Okay.
dropped like 2 seconds.
Okay.
And then I had my 50 free, which was against a lot faster people than last year.
Yeah.
Last year I swam, I think, at 26.
Okay.
And I dropped basically 3/4 of a second in this
Right,
one. So,
right.
yeah. And that was like the state qualifying time last year.
Yeah.
My 100, I got very close.
Yeah.
But I
just on the outside,
Yeah.
looking in on the 100.
I got 33rd. So
Okay.
it was okay though.
So
I
you're
have
right
next year.
there, and you're going to be back for more next year.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing. So this will be. I always love when our athletes can get down there and experience it. Not that we're discounting anything that can happen. Everybody's got goals, but like to get down there and experience it, and then it just usually motivates
Yep.
for the future and allows you to work even harder because now you want to go back again and do even better. So to do it and have more time left after this event Thursday and Friday is going to be pretty sweet. And you mentioned the relay. So sometimes you got to the individual events. You know what you have to do. You're swimming against the clock. You're swimming against the other swimmers in the pool. But those relays sort of are fun. They're team events, and
Yeah.
they bring close together, and it's a lot of fun, right? I mean, just tell us a little bit about that relay and what that experience was like.
Both of our relays, we went into them knowing that we probably weren't going to move on
Yeah.
to states, but We just went into it with the mindset of dropping as much time as we could and going as fast as we could and just cheering each other on.
Yeah.
So there was no added pressure, because obviously you're now swimming for 3 other individuals as well. So no added pressure trying to, help the other 3 girls advance?
No, not really,
No?
because our times were too
Yeah.
far from state times to make it. But we just wanted to drop time in PR.
And for you personally, let's go back from Spire to CSU to coming up on states this week. What was one thing maybe that you improved from Spire to CSU and that you need to improve on this week going into the state meet?
I guess my underwaters and my turns, they're a little, because this is only my second year. So I still need to work on like the technical stuff. So just flip turns and getting more powerful underwaters.
So same thing we asked Brody. So how are you practicing this week, getting ready for the meet later this week?
It's a lot of tapering, so we're not doing as much at our practices. It's just kind of like 25s with a lot of rest and just going off the blocks and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of technical stuff ready to go. And, well, I think it's one of those things, if, like you said, you've only been at this 2 years. Let's put that into perspective. Traxton with really his first year. Swimming is a different animal as well. Like, it's really hard to, if you've not been swimming for a long period of time, to pick it up and have the success that you've had really says a lot about just your natural ability to swim. So we're rooting you on Thursday night. We're going to clap you out here in about 45 minutes here at the end of the school day. And we appreciate your time and joining us, and best of luck this
Thank
week.
you.
All right, thanks. Noah Griffith, state qualifying swimmer for us, and excited to watch her on Thursday night down in Canton, and we wish her nothing but the best, obviously.
Yeah, it's again another one that just picked it up and it's having
Yeah.
the great
It's
success.
awesome.
And again, once you get into that pool and with the training and the couple of times we've had Coach Schneider here, just the excitement that he has for swimming obviously is translating to the kids.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, again, I can't, it sort of seems cliche at this point because now we've had really 2 of our 3 guests on today, or 2 of our 4 who just started in their particular sport within the last 2 years, and to qualify for a state meet doesn't happen a lot. So hats off to them and our coaches and their families. Congratulations to them, and we're looking forward. We'll follow us on Twitter. We'll keep everybody updated as to what's going on down in Canton at the state swim meet. But we'll move on to girls basketball. We've got another big event this weekend as well. As we've discussed a little bit here today, our girls will be playing in a district championship game this Saturday against West Branch. They will play that game at Akron North High School at 7 p.m. We'll have Coach Infalvi come on up. Coach, thanks for joining us today for a couple of minutes. We appreciate your time coming in after a big win last night. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was. We really came out last night and played really well for 32 minutes. And it leads back to a lot of things. Our prep leading up.
Yeah.
We have 14 girls dressing on our, for our tournament roster, and they're all involved in that. We told them after the game too, some get minutes, some don't.
Yeah.
Some get more than others. But the prep and getting us prepared for the game takes everyone. And they did that, and it showed on the floor. But I was just so happy with our intensity, our effort, the fire that we came out with last night.
And we talked with Jaden about it. I'd like to hear your perspective of this. So you're down 2 after 1. That second quarter, what was the message there? Obviously, it's only a 2-point game, so you're right in it. You know that the 23 had a couple of big threes to get Keystone, a little bit of that lead. But you go on a 19-3 run in that second quarter. What changed?
Yeah, it's funny. The newspaper after kind of asked, oh, what'd you do different to go on that run? And it really wasn't anything different. We just, kind of stayed the course, stayed to what our game plan was. Sometimes early in a game too, nerves are up a little bit, adrenaline's flying, you get tired earlier, sometimes little things happen, and it's a little bit of feeling out too. I think, especially offensively, I think defensively you can come out and impose your will a little bit from the beginning and do that. Offensively, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. We kind of stayed the course. We saw what was opening, and two, we had some players that came in off the bench and hit some big shots at big times, and did some key things defensively that got us in a little bit of transition and getting that ball moving up the court. But our defense remained the same, and I thought we were suffocating on defense. We communicated well, and we rebounded really well, and that was a big difference.
And what was our mindset going into the game? Do the girls pay attention, or are they sort of not caring about the other team's record? Obviously, they were a 10 seed, we were a 9 seed.
Yeah.
That's why we're hosting. But facts are facts. They had 21 wins on the season and only 2 losses.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think yesterday was Keystone's 6th loss in 2 years. They were in the Final Four last year. I think they ended up like 24-3 last year, something around that. And they're good. I do think too, and I don't know how much getting inside their head, knowing really what they're thinking, but I mean, we try to prepare them for these situations too. We play the Menners, we play the Campfields. We play the bigger independent schools. We try to put them against teams that run different things, different defenses. There's different offensive teams that whether it's a stud point guard or a stud shooter, like we experience that. And I just feel like over time that doesn't matter who we're playing then, so you don't go into that game thinking like, we're playing this team. I think it gets to that point where, all right, let's go. And, I'm sure there was some nervousness. I'm sure there was some thought like, this team's really good. But, when you do your homework and you really look at things, and one of the things that we've done a really good job of, our girls have done great with, is when we go over scouting reports and go over film to really talk about the other team's personnel and what they do well and what they struggle with, and then take advantage of it. I don't think that happens early in the year. As the year moves on and evolves, we see that, and then they see how that works and affects the other team, and they did a really good job of that last night. And they've done a good job the last couple games too, when we've really hit on that.
And the season has kind of gone in 2 different shifts: 5-5 to start the year, a 9-game win streak, close the season, 1-2 over your final 3, but now back on a 3-game winning streak. So you kind of touched on the non-conference schedule. What switched when January started to get you guys onto that 9-0 run?
Yeah,
9-game win streak.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of things. I think one of the major things that really has helped us this year is kind of getting our cohesiveness and a mesh with our grouping. We have 4 seniors return. We had 3 girls with a lot of experience. We have 3 sophomores that, as freshmen, got some time here or there. A little bit of time, not a lot, but took that experience. And then we have a couple incoming freshmen that, so it takes a little bit of time early. The one thing is, though, that I feel like they believe in each other, they trust each other, they get along on and off the court. And I think as the season has gone on, then they start learning each other better and better, and they play together. I mean, you look at our scoring, like, that's a hard thing too. I've been in some postseason award meetings, and everyone's like, well, this girl averages 28 points, and this girl, I'm like, well, we don't, but we have, when you look at our scoring, like, it's pretty balanced every game. Like, in different players, lead the way in scoring. Different players hit different things. We have different girls that hit big time shots in games. So the fact that they're unselfish on the court and they don't care who is doing that is huge. And I think that kind of catapulted our run a little bit. And we lost, when you look at those 5 losses, Gilmore, Riverside, I still want the Riverside game back. We were 2 of 30 from the 3-point line, but a tough place to shoot. But then, we lost to Richmond Heights, who's really good the first time around, and then Canfield Menor, and then we started our run. So, and all those games were in all those games. So it wasn't like we got, blown out. And then, we won a big Madison game on the road in overtime. That kind of catapulted that. And then we got some big wins, beat Chagrin twice, beat Richmond Heights a second time. We had some really nice wins, and, we really played together. So it was nice. And even our 2 losses down the stretch, we played Rootstown, who was, I think they finished the season 21-1.
Right.
The regular season, they're really good. I mean, we were in that game the whole time. And then we lost 2 days later to a Normandy team who played totally different defensively. It was really good for us, but that was on the road on a Monday right after playing that game Saturday.
Weird building to play in.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
a
and
different
so there's
setup
some
over
different
there.
things that happen in that, but they were great experiences for us. So I'm glad they happened, and I think that's continuing to help us.
Now, how much time did you celebrate the Keystone win? I'm sure you're probably already watching West
Yeah.
Branch film last night.
Oh yeah, I went home last night. I watched their game versus Salem and watched a couple of the other games and started breaking down film and setting up scouting report a lot during the day today. So I told them to enjoy it until 3 o'clock today when we have our meeting. For us as coaches, I enjoyed it. I mean, you have to,
Sure.
but you're itching to get to work because we have a good opportunity in front of us Saturday, and we're going to make sure we do everything possible to be prepared for it.
And let's talk a little bit about the West Branch Warriors. They historically are very strong defensive. They sort of hang their hat on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Low score. They like games in the 30s.
Yep.
And so, not that we're going to give them all kinds of fodder here to know what we're going to do, but how do we attack that when we know that's sort of what their strength is?
Yeah, I mean, watching them more and more, and they're very similar to us.
Yeah.
We're a lot that way too.
Yeah.
They have some good players. They don't necessarily have that stud that scores 25 a game,
Right.
anything like that. They're pretty unselfish as well.
Yeah.
They're really well coached. They do really good things defensively. So, I mean, I was texting back and forth with our assistant coach with Craig last night, and there's gonna be a dogfight.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be low scoring,
Yeah.
but I think there's things we've seen teams like that. You look at a Canfield team that
Yeah.
they hang their hat on defense
Yeah.
too. They're really good. We've had those experiences, so we're gonna see what we can try to take advantage of, and both offensively and defensively, and. I feel good about our girls. I know they're going to be ready for it and prepared, and I'm excited for Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And our 5th district championship appearance in 7 years. Does that
Yeah,
sound right?
yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
impressive. Had an amazing run here with the success of our girls basketball program. So thanks for joining us today, taking a few minutes away from the TV or the computer, watching some film. And we wish the Lady Pirates nothing but the best on Saturday.
Hey,
Good
thank
luck.
you.
All
Thanks.
right.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
coming on.
All right.
We'll
Thanks.
update. If we have a live stream, we'll certainly shoot that out to our community, and we'll keep everybody updated on Twitter.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Coach. Appreciate it. Coach Roy Falvey, Jr., joining us today on our podcast, just to preview Saturday and sort of wrap up that huge win last night against the team coming off the state championship appearance last year, a Final Four appearance in D3 last year, and 21-1 this year. Certainly, if I remember correctly, the day of the draw, Keystone sort of chose to come into our bracket. They selected behind us and got to pick where to go. And the Lady Pirates took care of business last night and played one of our best, if not our best, game of the year. Certainly from a defensive standpoint, to hold that team to 38 points is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it was nice to have Coach because we've streamed the last 2 playoff games, and usually I go down and talk to him beforehand, but I missed it on Saturday, my opportunity to go down. So I stayed away yesterday just
Yeah,
in case. I didn't
right,
want to be the bad luck charm. So it was nice
Yeah.
to have him because I'm not going to talk to him on Saturday just to make sure everything stays status quo.
Awesome.
But
All right, and we'll introduce our last guest of the day here and get him up. We appreciate all of the time and energy that the News Herald pours into interscholastic athletics here in Northeast Ohio. I'm biased because I'm from this area, and I know a lot of these reporters and the time and energy again that they commit. But really, some of the best coverage in the entire state of Ohio by the News Herald. On high school sports. Ben Hersick, come on up, Ben. We appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with us today. Ben covers mainly boys basketball, so we'll transition from girls to boys a little bit. John Camp was out here last night working the girls' game. John's been at this for a very long time and is on the wrestling beat as well, so we'll see him down the road, hopefully in Columbus. But Ben, on the boys' side, the Pirates, our Perry Pirates, will play Woodridge. Probably not a team you get to see a lot of either because they're down in Peninsula. And somebody said the other day they actually have a high school in Peninsula because it's not very big. Well, neither's Perry, but they're the 12 seed. We're the 10. Just give us a little bit of, how many times have you seen our team this year and what you've been impressed with?
I want to say it's been about 3 or 4. That's
Okay.
kind of the range it's been for a lot of the area teams. Like
Yeah.
I've seen Menor, a handful more.
Yep.
But you look at with Perry, what's really impressed me, you have guys that can shoot, but it's been the defense that's been phenomenal to me. I mean, especially with Duran Malone leading the way. I mean, I covered the game against Lake Catholic where they came back to get the win.
Yeah,
But there
that's
was a sequence with 3 or 4 straight defensive plays where he either altered a shot, got his hand in on a pass, had a complete steal or a block. He was just able to do a little bit of everything defensively. And when you pair him with Vince Tomasic, those two can handle either side of the court on either any given night. And that's what really helps set you guys apart from some of the other D4 teams in the area.
Yeah.
And before we get into that bracket part, you mentioned both of the starting backcourt. Vince and Darian, is this the best backcourt in Northeast Ohio?
That's a tough one. It's up there. From what I've seen, I would say it's probably 1 or 1A. Lake Catholic has a pretty good 1-2 combo when they're both hot. Like, obviously, they took some time to get going against you guys a couple of days ago, but when they're both shooting as well as they can, they're tough to stop. Menor is going to have a dangerous backcourt in a couple of years. They have a sophomore and a freshman that are running things really well already.
Wow.
But I would say right now it's 1 or 1A because Richmond Heights is definitely going to be up in that conversation as well.
Yeah, and actually I've had that conversation with Vince and Darian. They've both been our athletes of the week, so they've been on our show, on the podcast earlier, and they are even more interested in, like, well, are we the best backcourt in Perry history? And I'm like, yeah, I say that for now.
It's again a fun conversation.
Exactly. It's a fun conversation because if you look up at our 1,000-point board or through our history books, there's been some really good ones here at Perry. So certainly not taking anything away from the kids who've been here before and this guard combo that Vince and Darian are. Now, the other night at Madison, were you here against Madison?
I was not.
You were not. So that will go down in the history books, not only from Vince and Darian, but from our team. We're down 10 against Madison on Saturday night. It's senior night, and sometimes you get that lull after a senior night. It's a little emotional. It's a little different. And Madison came out giving them a ton of credit. They played really, really well in the first half. And then the third quarter happened. We outscored them 30-12. And ended up scoring 51 points in the second half to pull away and win by 12 or 14 points. And 49 of those points were scored by Vince or Darian. So, only think Carter Hopkins had a bucket at some point in that second half. So just a dominating performance by those two. And obviously couldn't have done it without some deep, we made some adjustments defensively, played a little bit of a trap, half-court trap that gave Madison some fits. But those two really took the team on their shoulders and took us to that win. And hopefully we're using that as a little bit of a springboard here as we get into this Woodridge game. And then it'll be really interesting to see what happens on the other side of that bracket. We can either host, if we get the win, certainly not a given with the 12-seed Woodridge coming in, but if we do, VASJ or Streetsboro in that next round. And if it's VASJ, we get to host because we're a higher-seeded team. So I don't know anything about VASJ. What have you seen from the Vikings this year?
They're a very well-balanced team, but they have 3 senior leaders that really get things going. And Jeremiah Martin and Antonio Brown have been their 2 go-to guys. I want to say they're both averaging double digits in points. Jeremiah Martin's one of the top 5 ball handlers in the area with assists per game. Antonio's a force inside. But a lot of it does come down to, and I've talked about this with our photographers and other reporters at times, if Sean Schenker can get going from 3, how do you stop him? Because he can just hit from everywhere beyond the arc, which is a scary thing to think about. And Joe's is coming off of a phenomenal year last year, where they stunned everybody getting down to the regional semifinal
Yeah.
in Division II at the time.
Yeah.
And especially with them bringing back so much, they also add in 3 really good sophomores. It might be 2. One of their guys twisted his ankle against Gilmore, and I don't think he's played since. He might be back against Streetsboro, might not. But when you bring in just some sophomore experience that have been playing a lot of minutes as well, that's going to help them be ready for that big stage. And there's a reason they went after Streetsboro,
Yeah.
I feel, is because they see that as the potential way to get back to a district final, and it just so happened to be in the same side of the bracket as you guys.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they the way the draws work, in our particular case, the top 10 teams, we were the 10 seed, could pass, and we did a couple of times, and then ended up going in to play Woodridge. But as the 13 seed, they could not, and so they had to choose to go somewhere. Obviously, you're going to choose to go somewhere, and they chose to go against Streetsboro on the road. But it probably gives them, in their minds, the best chance to get back into that type of situation.
Absolutely. And it's the same with Streetsboro and Woodridge. They're
Yeah.
solid teams, but I feel like
Yeah.
if you can get them out of their rhythm.
Yeah.
I was just checking some stuff on Woodridge earlier. They like to have games in the 70s to 80s, but if you hold them to 45, 50 points, they're not as comfortable and beatable. That's what a team like Kenston did about January 15th, 16th range.
Okay.
And they were able to get a win over Woodridge, and Kenston's the 34 seed, I want to say, in
Right.
Division III,
Right.
compared to Woodridge being the 12 in D4. But that's just how loaded D4 is. I think
Yeah.
going into a couple of days before the selections were set, number 5 through 20 were separated by about or less than a tenth of a point,
Wow.
which just shows how competitive it was. If NDCL were to beat Ursuline beforehand, they probably would have jumped to the top 4.
Right. And Hawken jumped in there late. We had been ahead of Hawken, even though we had 2 losses against the Hawks. They were below us, and they ultimately jumped us by a spot or 2. But that's just how, like you said, that D4 is loaded, and we don't get to pick where we go. But I don't know, we would have picked to go in D4 if we had our choice of divisions to go. You might almost go to D3, just because how loaded D4 is.
Is there a team we haven't talked about in D4 that we should be familiar with if Perry wants to make a little bit of a run here?
It would have to be Glenville.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are familiar with them from other
Yep.
sports,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
we
season.
are.
But
It-
you look at just what Glenville's done is they have one guy who's kind of leading the way, and I know Xavier Vickerstaff, he played at Mayfield the past 2 years,
Okay.
transferred there, and he's a really strong scorer. He's kind of finding that rhythm now to be the go-to guy. But they're just a really gritty team, and they want to play physical, which I see Perry all the time. The guys are a lot bigger than you expect.
Yeah.
Usually when I cover games, I like to be a little bit higher up on the sidelines. But with you guys, it's not as high on the sidelines that I can go.
Yeah.
So I'm usually sitting in those seats on the far side,
Yeah.
and I'm close to the court, and I can see, they're about my height, 5'9", but they're big.
Right.
So I feel like that matches up really well. But the thing is, they play aggressive defensively, and I feel like when there have been times where if the teams turn up intensity on defense against Perry, there have been a couple more turnovers than Coach Acafano would obviously
Sure.
want. So I feel like that's going to be the big thing if you guys get past Woodridge, Anjos, or Streetsboro. Glenville, it's a little bit easier on the top half of the bracket, but I feel like you guys do match up really well with most of the teams that you guys would see.
Okay, good.
And then not just Division 4, but in Lake County, the News Herald area, is there a team that can make a little bit of a run here? Doesn't have to be Division 4, any division.
The obvious one, Richmond Heights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going for 4. I've been saying we're on a collision course. I think Matt Gould said the exact same thing. It's a collision course that's been set up for now a regional final. We both initially thought it'd be a semifinal with both teams taking the Division 5 Cleveland Heights side.
Okay.
But one went to Heights, one went to Firestone.
Yeah.
But I think Richmond, with the experience they have, with everybody starting to roll, they beat Eds, and it looked easy,
Oh, boy.
which is scary. I
That's
think
scary.
that Richmond Heights obviously makes the run to the Final Four state championship again. They're going for the first ever four-peat in state history, which is very impressive, considering some of the teams that have been there and had a chance to do it, which all 3 before them have come up short. I think 2 of the 3 made it back to the state round.
Okay.
And I think none of them made it back to the championship game. Obviously, Richmond Heights, Cornerstone has a good look at it. I believe Kwasniak's under 100 away from breaking the all-time scoring record in the state.
Okay.
And I think at worst they get to regional semis, regional final. At best, they're down there in Dayton,
Yeah.
and I think they would probably match up with Rushi, which would be a very interesting matchup in Clash of Styles. Kirtland got a really nice draw.
Yeah.
They're like the number 2 seed overall in their bracket. I think the 7 seed picked the bracket, and then Kirtland jumped in there. But Andrews Osborne's on the top half of that bracket, who beat Kirtland by 5 or 6 just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then in Division 3, you can never count out Gilmore.
Yeah.
Coach Dan DeCrane does a great job of not just getting his guys ready, but finding the best possible path. He picked the exact same side as Cleveland Central Catholic.
Yeah.
And on the bottom half, you're facing either Bedford, who's got some experience, but not a lot in a first-year head coach,
Yeah.
at least first year at Bedford, and Alliance, who I feel like is a year away from being something. So I feel like it's those 4 or 5 that I mentioned, Gilmore, you guys, Richmond Heights, Cornerstone, and Kirtland, that I think have the best possible ways to make runs.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's Ben Hersick. He is our boys basketball beat reporter for the News Herald. Does a fantastic job. Not only you see him all over the place in other sports too, and we appreciate the News Herald again. Does a great job covering our kids.
I've got wrestling Saturday and Sunday, so I'm
So
doing.
you do have wrestling Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
So where are you going?
I'm going to. I'm not going to say the first one right,
Okay.
so I'm going to say what the school I usually call it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to John Adams for the
Okay.
D1 there.
Yeah.
And then I got girls at Euclid on Sunday.
Okay.
Which I
Perfect.
believe you guys are at.
We are at. We're going to talk about
And
our wrestling here in a
And
second.
I
but
do
yeah,
really like Gigi and
Yeah.
Abby. I think they've
We're-
got a lot of potential.
We're excited, and I know they're pumped up and they're ready to go. They've been going to tournaments all over the state of Ohio, getting ready for this weekend. So
Oh yeah,
they'll be ready to roll.
They're going to be fun to watch, and it's scary to think that last year Abby was just kind of getting her feet wet, and now she's a threat to not just make it to district, but to get to the state tournament.
Yeah, and I know that's her goal. She was
Yep.
one of our athletes of the week a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and just as you could tell, she was locked
Yes.
in. This is what she wants, what she's been working for. Another athlete has not been at her craft for all that long,
Right.
just a couple of years, but I know she's excited about this weekend.
I jokingly told her, because I was at the Lutheran West tournament
Yeah.
just after Christmas, jokingly told her she should have told Holly Viss to come out for wrestling.
Yeah, I
And sa-
agree
and
with
same
that.
with Aubrey. I'm like, just get all the cross country girls to come on out.
You're already in shape, so
Exactly.
just roll around the mat a little bit, get
Perfect.
it done. So, all right, Ben, thanks for joining us today. We really
Thank you very
appreciate your
much.
time and all that you do for our athletes here in Northeast Ohio.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
All right, great.
Well, I guess we'll just wrap it quickly. 'Cause
Yeah, we'll wrap
just-
it up.
Wrestling is the only sport we haven't touched on yet.
Yeah, wrestling, as Ben said, our girls are going to be at Euclid. Our boys are going to be down at West Branch for sectionals on Saturday. We had you could pick where to go for where you wanted to compete. We chose to go the furthest away, but it also gives our kids the best chance on getting to that district level, which is obviously the next step before state. So I know they're pumped up and ready to go. They have a little time off since that state tournament, that dual tournament. They've been resting and certainly not resting,
Right.
but getting healthy, little bumps and bruises. We'll have Coach Trentelli on here in the next week or so as we preview that next week for that district tournament. And then gymnastics postseason starts this weekend as well. And we have some girls, as we had Macy on last week, who obviously have some goals to get down to Columbus as well. So exciting times. And thanks for joining us. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back for week 25, the silver edition, anniversary edition of Walk the Plank next week. Until then, go Pirates.